bonus segment, Week 6 edition, Thursday night, Commodes at the Bears. This could be ugly, just like last Thursday night. Wentz hurting. Coach Ron says the difference is QB between the Commodes and the other teams in the NFC East. But yeah, Wentz is not worse than Danny Dimes or Cooper Rush. Brian Robinson might get off in this one. Justin Fields can't go off on our secondary. He never will. Montgomery, Herbert, one of those guys, they should be great.
So who are you taking?
I'm going to take the Commodes. They're my team. I don't see how we lose to the Bears, but that's probably what's going to happen.
Okay, and your bust?
I'm going to say my bust.
Never heard of him.
He's thinking too long.
Gosh. Give me Justin Fields as my bust. My bust out is going to be Curtis Samuel.
Okay, Tobin, who are you taking?
Let's go Commando.
It's unanimous. We're all taking Commandos.
Kiss of death. It's in Chicago. It was hard for me to do that, but...
And who's your bust out?
My bust out... I think this is the week that Wentz goes from GOAT to hero.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Okay, and who's your busted?
Busted. I'm going to go Mooney. I think he had his pop-up last week, and he's going to disappear again.
Okay, well, I'm taking the Commodes. I'm taking Wentz to be the bust-out player of the game. I'm taking Fields to be the busted. I see a trend. I'm taking Fields every week until he proves otherwise as the Bears. Okay, Tobin, Eagles, Cowboys.
Man, this one's going to be a good game.
Has all the makings.
Yeah, I mean, it's rivalry week. There's a lot of points laid. I got to go with Philly at home. I think they're 6.5-point favorite at home. I got to go with Philly. I think this is going to be interesting, but I think this is the Kenneth Gainwell. I'm going to take the changeup back. That Dallas defense is legit. So I think it's not going to be something traditional, but they're vulnerable, I think, to the swing pass.
Okay, and you're busted.
I think this is the week Cooper Rush's bubble bursts a little bit. I think the Eagles' front fours, that pass rush is going to get home. And I think CD is going to have a hard time getting open, so where's he going with the ball?
Okay, well, I, too, am taking the Eagles to win the game. My bust out is Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to have a big game. He had a big game last week. His touches are staying consistent. He out-touched Gainwell, I believe it was 13-3 in the rushing game. And Sanders looked good rushing the ball. And my busted is going to be DC Lamb. I think that Darius Slay is going to shut him down. They're going to roast him over the top and make sure he doesn't touch the ball.
So bad he changed his initials around.
Yeah, yep. They did. I got the Eagles. Fly Eagles fly, or maybe they need to change it to Run Eagles run, because Jalen Hurts is going to run all around these fools. Now, last year they did lose twice to the Cowboys, and actually Jalen Hurts had huge passing performances. So my bust out is going to be A.J. Brown. I think he's going to roast Diggs at least once, maybe twice.
Doesn't everybody?
And I don't like Zeke against Slay, but my busted is going to be Zeke. I just don't think they're going to run the ball.
Okay. Next game on the list is Broncos versus the Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers to win this game. I think the Broncos offense is not going to be able to muster anything at all against a busted-up Chargers defense. Wilson's done. Who's the next offensive weapon they have? Pick one. Anyone?
Cortland Sutton, Melvin Gordon.
Well, not unless he can throw the ball to him. And he's locked on his primary receiver. My bust out is going to be Herbert. My busted is Russ. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Tom, who are you taking?
I'm going to take the Chargers. I think that they'll be able to survive this. I just don't trust Russ at all.
Is he your busted player of the game?
He's going to be my busted. I just don't think he's going to perform well. I don't think he'll get the ball out enough to Sutton or Judy. I don't think Eckler does really well here. So I'm kind of torn in my bust out. But I'm going to go ahead and stab in the dark at Melvin Gordon. This is kind of a revenge game. We were drafted by the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of issue. He started fumbling the ball, so they let go of him.
Yep. Tobin. I'm sorry, were you done, Tom?
Yeah, good.
Tobin?
First off, how in the hell are the Broncos in prime time again? I mean, who did we piss off to get the Broncos in prime time?
We get the Broncos and the Bears this week in prime time.
Yeah, but this is like 4 out of 6 games the Broncos
because they have Russ now. Russ is the drawing card for no
Holy
reason.
crap. Somebody needs to be fired for the schedule. I'm going Chargers. I'm going Gerald Everett for the bust out. And I agree, Russ, until he shows signs of life, he's the busted.
Okay, Tobin, your favorite team against the Bills?
Yeah, I can't go against my Chiefs at home, even though we're getting points. In fact, I think I like that we're getting points at home. I'm going to go Chiefs. I think it's going to be Kelsey. They're going to try and put 19 guys on him, and I think he's still going to find a way. Busted. I'm going to go with the Bills running game, whether it's Singletary or Moss or I think RB1, RB2, RB3. Their best RB is their QB.
There's no doubt about that.
I think the running back position as a whole for Buffalo is my bust this week.
Well, much to your surprise, I'm taking the Bills. I think the Bills, this is a revenge game for what took place last year in the playoffs. I think they're going to get up early and keep them down, and keep just going after them. My bust out player is going to be Josh Allen. I know it's hard to predict against the Chiefs secondary. He's going to throw for that many yards. If Derek Carr put up that many yards and that many touchdowns against him, imagine what Allen's going to do with a better caliber receiving core. My busted is Juju. I don't think Juju's really showed up yet this year. He's done just enough to get by, but not a lot. And I think this is the week that Juju goes away. Tom?
Yeah, I like the Chiefs to win here. I know it's the late afternoon window, and that may be the only thing that screws us up. If this is a primetime game, I think the Chiefs, they really lay it on for some reason. That being said, I'm still going to take Gabe Davis as my bust out.
Just should have had him last week.
If Devontae gets behind the secondary, Davis is just as fast as Devontae, if not faster, and he's bigger. So I predict that's going to happen again. I mean, he did it in the playoff game 4 times. And then my busted player, I'm going to go with Devin Singletary. I'm tempted to go with CEH, but I feel like he's kind of on that every other week thing. And since he crapped the bed Monday night, he probably falls in the end zone twice.
Yeah, and he's played well against the Bills in the past. He's had some big nights against them.
Why regard him? I mean, I'm going to shut down the field passing game, and I've got to try to stop Kelsey.
Yeah, my biggest concern on this game, honestly, is the Orlando Brown-Von Miller matchup. That's going to decide the whole game.
Well, you saw it on Monday night. Chandler Jones ate up Orlando Brown early.
And Andy hopefully will make some adjustments, have some backs chipped, backup tight end over there. You gotta account for him because he can turn this whole game on its head.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the next game on the list is the Bengals versus the Saints, and I go first. I take the Bengals. I can't really tell you why it's on turf indoors. It just seems like this is, we've been waiting for the Bengals offense to show up, and it really hasn't yet. I think this is going to be the bust-out game for them, just like I said last week, which didn't happen. But this is indoors on turf. I think the wide receivers for Cincinnati are going to be almost unstoppable, especially if Higgins is back and healthy, which he hasn't appeared on anything yet this week as far as any injuries being limited, that type of stuff. My bust-out player is going to be Joe Mixon. I think they're going to be so loaded to stop the wide receivers. Mixon's going to rush for probably 17 and 94 and a touchdown. My busted player is going to be Taysom Hill. He's the only weapon they have that's healthy at this point in time, with 4 wide receivers being on no practice today on a Wednesday. So I'm going to go with Hill. Tom?
Yeah. I like the former Tigers returning to Louisiana. Burrow, Chase, and all those guys coming back to the Superdome. I'm like you. I am cautious with Taysom Hill, but in most leagues where I've picked him up, I have to play him this week. I think Alvin Kamara can really get off in this game. I do like your Joe Mixon pick because if Ken Walker and Rashad Penny can do well down there. I know Joe Mixon can. I'm also cautiously optimistic about T. Higgins. If he can go, I think they really put up the points. But if he doesn't, then Hayden Hurst is a must play because I think he gets the stuff that was going to go to Higgins. So I'm going to pick the Bengals. I'm going to say my bust out is going to be Jamar Chase. I think he's going to come home and really get off in there in the Superdome. My busted player is going to be Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston, whoever ends up playing. Jameis didn't practice today, but I don't like Dalton in a revenge game against the Bengals.
Okay, Mr. Tobin.
I've got the Bengals, I've got Burrow, and I've got Taysom Hill. I think Burrow's going to throw the ball all over that Superdome.
Well, I hope so.
Taysom Hill, he had 93 points last week. He's due to have 3 this week.
Okay, Tom, Pats versus the Browns.
Man, if it was Mac Jones, I'd probably take the Pats, but I'm going to take the Browns here. Maybe I did write the Pats off too early, but
maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's all being done with coaching right now. They don't have a ton of talent. Nick Chubb, I'm not going to make him my bust out. I'm going to make Ramondre Stevenson my bust out.
And you're busted?
Let me go ahead and get Kareem Hunt as my busted.
I knew you were going to
he's
say
going to
him.
do anything.
Okay, Tobin.
This one's tough.
Should be a good game.
This one's tough. I mean, 2.5 points. The Browns are favored currently. Belichick finds a way, but I think this is a Cleveland win. So put me down for the Browns. Give me Njoku for the bust out. And
What is it with you and tight ends and busting out?
I don't know.
You just like tight ends?
Yes.
Okay.
Can neither confirm nor deny, huh? And I think the bust is going to be, I think it's still Zappy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I got to go there. I mean, it's a true road game. The dog pound's going to be going crazy. That's my bust.
Okay, next game is the Jags versus the Colts, and the revenge game for the last 8 for the Colts. Tobin?
Well, I wanted to say the Jags, but good God, did they lay down a turd last week?
They later.
I mean, that had to hurt. I'm going to go, and there's just so many variables here. I mean, is Taylor going to play?
No.
Doc says no, but I wouldn't put it past him.
I could see him resting one more week.
This is nearing must win.
They play the Titans in 2 weeks, and they definitely want JT healthy for that game because that's going to be a must win for them if they want to go anywhere in the division.
They've already lost to the Jags. They can't lose this game.
But the Jags are going to be not in playoff contention. They have to be able to beat the Titans in 2 weeks.
I still think Frank Reich's playing for his job right here, so I'm going to go Colts here at home. I think this is the game that Matt Ryan looks 10 years younger and finds a way to do it. On the bust, I'm going to go ATN, even though I've got him on my roster a bunch and can't afford it, but I don't know, he's just not getting enough touches right now. I think we saw a crossover last week between him and Robinson, and I know you didn't like it. I know you like Robinson to get his 15 to 20 touches, but I think ATN's the type of player that if you get him a combined 12 to 15 touches, he's 100, 120 yards combined.
But they can legitimately
all day
get
long.
them. They can get Etienne 12 to 15 touches. And they get Robinson 15 to 20 touches in the game if they run the game plan the correct way.
Well, the problem is the passing game down the field was non-existent last week, and so.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got to find that, and I don't think they've got it right now.
Yeah, but I don't think the Colts have a Stingley in the defensive backfield.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, well, I am taking the Colts to win. I think this is a must-win for the Colts. I think they're at home. And I also agree with Tobin that this is the week that Matt Ryan puts it together and becomes the Matt Ryan of 3 years ago. Matt Ryan's got to do something, otherwise he will be out of a job at the end of the season, and the Colts would be on for their seventh starting quarterback in 7 seasons, I believe. My busted player is Tom's favorite player, James Robinson. I think he's going to have one of those games where he's not going to touch the ball enough. If he does, I think the Colts are going to be loaded to stop him just because they can run blitz and go man-to-man and still be able to get pressure on Lawrence to make Lawrence beat them, which Lawrence has the ability to do that, but I don't think he's going to do it this week. Tom?
Man, the problem is we're recording this on Wednesday, and JT didn't practice today. I mean, I feel like if JT plays, it's the Colts big, and he's the bust out player.
That's what we thought 3 weeks ago when they played the Colts at Jacksonville.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take the Jags here. I think that they get back to the James Robinson leading this show, and the Colts cannot stop the run.
So is Robinson your bust out?
He's going to be my bust out after a crappy game. And my busted is going to go the opposite of you guys. I'm going to go with Matt Ryan as the busted. Everything I see with this guy, what is it? He's got 5 or 6 interceptions and 10 fumbles. Oh, man. I mean, it's like he's oblivious to people rushing him. It's just weird.
Okay, next game is the Jets versus the Packers, and I get to go first. So I'm going to take the Packers in what I think should be a fairly exciting game. If Ramondre Stevenson can put up that many yards against, if Saquon Barkley can put that many yards against the Packers defense, I think Breece Hall's going to have another bust out game. I've got Breece Hall as my bust out player of the week. Shocking of all shocks, right? I think Aaron Jones is going to have a bad week for the Packers. I think the Packers win on a squeaker, but I wouldn't be too surprised if the Jets win. I think the Jets are one of those teams that's just everything's rolling the right way for them, and momentum's going to continue to build. And I think by week 10, 11, they're going to be a very, very, very hard team to beat. Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers here. I like what you said there. If Saquon can tear up the Packers, then Breece Hall sure can. I'm scared of Breece Hall if I'm the Packers, but he becomes the thing I'm going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And playing at Lambeau is always, you never know which Green Bay team you're going to get. They're either going to barely squeak this out or they're going to boat race them. I like Aaron Jones to be the bust out player in this after basically him saying, look, you need to get back to this. I think they're going to force feed him the ball. This could be an Aaron Jones 4-touchdown game. My busted player, I'm going to go with Zach Wilson here. This is a tough road test for this kid. I don't know that he's ready for this yet.
One good thing about Zach Wilson in Green Bay, there's not going to be a lot of hot moms there. It is Wisconsin and cheese.
Yeah, right. The hot chicks there are the younger chicks. Yeah, that's for sure.
Tobin?
All right, so you guys can see this. I wrote this down beforehand.
And it says?
So I've got the Packers winning this thing, although 7.5 seems really high right now. That if you're one of those degenerates who likes to maybe partake in a little wagering on the game, I think that 7.5 seems a little steep right now.
It's scary.
Just given the way the Packers offense has looked so far.
In 2 smash spots against the Patriots and the Giants, they did not cover.
Exactly. So if that's one I have circled early in the week. But I've got the Packers winning it. I agree with Tommy. I think Aaron Jones is going to finally break loose a little bit here. I could see this being, 10 for 70 and 5 for 60 or 70 and a couple TDs, maybe one in the air and one in the ground. I think he's going to go nuts. I've got Zach Wilson and the Cougars as my bust. Sorry, Green Bay ladies. Yeah. They're going to probably keep 2 guards on his room there in Green Bay.
More than likely, yeah.
I mean, there's only 6 hotels in the whole city, so they might stay in Chicago for the night or Milwaukee and come across. Yeah.
Milwaukee.
Okay, Tom, who you taking? The Ravens versus the Giants.
I just feel the Giants are screwed in this one. I mean, yeah, they're pulling rabbits out of their buttholes and winning these games, but this is a whole different cat. This is Lamar Jackson. I mean, you have to play Saquon just like you always do. If you've got him, you got to play him.
Yes. He's the number one fantasy running back right now.
Yeah. Well, actually, he's number 3 right now. Austin Eckler's number 1,
Okay.
then Nick Chubb. Stopping the one-dimensional passing game of the Packers and crowding the line and all that stuff, that's one thing. Stopping Lamar is a totally different thing. I don't see how they stop him. Lamar's going to be my bust out, and I'm going to bust up Danny Dimes again. I don't care if he beat the Packers last week, and you can give him all the credit in the world. But
He deserves it. He looked good.
ugh,
He did. Hate to say it, but he did look good.
no.
Okay, Tobin, who you taking, bud?
I've got the Ravens winning this one. They're 5.5 point favorite, and I think that might be light, honestly. I've got Lamar as my bust out too. I think he's going to run all over the field, and I think this is the week that he uncorks and actually connects a couple of those long ones. My busted is the entire freaking Giants wide receiver room. I mean, that is not an NFL wide receiving group right now.
No, his top 4 targets are on the IR.
Yeah, he's got guys that I'm not sure.
He's got guys that played in the Central Indoor Football League playing for him.
Affirmative. I mean, great for them for getting their shot.
Unless Tony comes back. If Tony comes back, he has at least one NFL caliber wide receiver.
Yeah.
Well, Darius Slayton is the one who led him in receiving last week. And Darius Slayton is a wide receiver 3 or 4.
Yes. And when that's your number one dude,
You got
it's going to
issues.
be a long day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I too am taking the Ravens to make it a uniform pick.
Man, take the Giants, folks. Take the
I
Giants.
have also got Lamar Jackson as the bust out player of the week, and I've got Danny Dimes as the busted player of the week. I don't see any way that that Ravens defense is going to blitz him some more. He's going to think his Christmas blitz is going to be running all over him. Next game up, Tobin, Vikings Dolphins.
I've got to go Vikings here. I mean, they're down to their 3rd QB in Miami. I don't see how they can keep up with the Vikings offense. Until somebody proves they can cover him, I've got to go Jefferson for the bust out. I'm still kicking myself for trading him away. Billy, you're welcome.
And you should.
Yeah. But,
Especially since you traded to me.
well, you didn't ask for him.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah, yours was crazy, though.
2 first, 2 second, 3 first,
No,
and 3 seconds.
you offered me a bag of crap and
I
wanted
averaged you 3
Jefferson.
first and 3 seconds at one time for him.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Go back and look.
I will. My busted, as much as I'd love to root for the K-State kid, the local Kansas kid to do well, I think Skylar Thompson's going to struggle. I mean, being a rookie, NFL QB, making your home start, the only saving grace might be that it's a home game.
That's like the low hanging fruit taking him.
But
Which is what we're supposed to do,
I was
right?
going to say, you two have the same guy picked probably.
No, I
so.
don't. I've got somebody else picked.
All right, so I've got Jefferson and Thompson.
Yeah, I too am taking the Vikings. I just think the Vikings have too much talent on offense for the Dolphins to shut them down. I would not be the least bit surprised as this is a 35-28 game, as I think the Dolphins will be able to, against the Vikings defense, put some points up, especially in Miami in the heat and humidity. My bust-out player is Jefferson, until spoken otherwise. I mean, you've got to stop him at some point in time, and if you can't, you got to keep picking him. It's just like that play. Until they stop it, you got to keep running it. My busted player, Tyreek Hill.
Nobody to throw it to him.
That, and I think that also he's going to get frustrated quickly.
Although I think Skylar Thompson can get the deep ball down there a little better than Tua can, so who knows?
Thompson's got a pretty good arm, but I think that Hill's just going to get frustrated by not getting the targets that he thinks he's going to have. Thompson's going to take the easy pickings with the tight end, Waddle, and the running back before he goes to Hill. Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings here. Skylar Thompson starting really impacts this team, and they may be able to cover Justin Jefferson, maybe rolling safeties over and all that stuff. I thought Thielen was due last week. Now he's really due. He's going to be my bust out. I think they're going to leave Adam Thielen and not worry about covering him, which is just going to cause him to eat yardage and touchdowns up. I love Cook and Madison. I think they'll hammer the game away in the second half.
Pick one.
I picked Thielen as my bust out. I'm gonna say Jalen Waddle is my busted player. I don't think he's nearly as good without Tua again, like I've said before, if Tua was there and no Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle would be a top 5 wide receiver.
Okay. Next game we have on the list is Cardinals versus the Seahawks. I'm taking the Cardinals. I think their defense is just good enough to keep the Seahawks from scoring enough. Offensively, the Cardinals are limited, and I do mean limited with what they have on the field at this point in time. But they seem to be able to get the job done and always be in contention. This week, I think they find a way to win. My bust out is Murray. Don't like him. I don't think he's near as good of a quarterback as what he thinks he is. But I'm going to take him this week for that, just because I don't think the Cardinals have any other offense other than him and his wheels. My busted player is going to be Geno Smith. I think that Geno Smith is going to be harassed and chased all day long, and I think he's not going to like that. Him under pressure, his completion rate's like 44% when he's under pressure. I think that the Seahawks are going to be under pressure all day long. Tom?
I'm going the other way. I like the Seahawks here. I think this is going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be high scoring, just like most of the Seahawks games have been. I agree with you. I think Kyler could have a really good game. I think Marquise Brown is going to roast the corners for Seattle. I don't care who they put on him, whether it's Quandre or whoever. Benjamin, I'm expecting to get the start. I'm expecting Connor to sit, but if Connor plays, he should do well. The Seahawks can't stop the run, but Ken Walker, maybe he'll do okay, but DK and Tyler Lockett should eat this stuff up. We talked about 9 for 85 for Goddard, 10 for 87 for Smith. I'm going to go back to the well here and go with DK. Lockett had a bigger one last week. DK is going to be my bust out. And my busted, I'm going to go ahead and put James Conner on there.
Yeah, he is busted.
Because he's already busted up, and I think he'll try to gut it out, and he won't last the first quarter.
Okay, Tobin.
He's going to need some of Justin Herbert's spare ribs.
That's right.
Saucy. I agree with Tommy here, unfortunately. I'm going to go Seahawks. I think this, being at home, that 12th man is legit.
They're going to be loud after that win in New Orleans.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I've got DK on the bust out. I think I agree with what you have in your notes here, that it's going to be he or Lockett. They may both have a pretty nice day. The Cardinals have shown no signs of life in stopping the passing game. So I think DK gets loose here. And I had Connor down and scratched it out just because I don't think he's going to go. So I've got his backup as my busted. I think Eno's going to struggle. It's going to come down to how they can do with their silent count and how much Kyler does his homework this week. And if Seattle's smart, Bill Gates just sent a whole new Xbox and series of games to Kyler this week during a little home field advantage. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, Tom, Bucks versus the Steelers.
Oh, this is Bucks. I think Tommy can sleepwalk through this, and I love him to Evans and Godwin. I don't think Lenny does quite as well as he has, because I don't think he'll have to in this one. For the Steelers, I don't like Najee right now. He's going to be my busted.
I join you in that regard.
Pickett to Pickens and Deontay should be okay, but my bust out is going to be Mike Evans.
Okay, Tobin.
I've got the Bucks, favored by 8. After what we saw Buffalo do, I think that 8 is a number. I've got that one circled and highlighted early in the week. Bucks laying 8. So I've got Godwin. I think there's just enough with in the back end of that Steelers takeaway, maybe 1. So I think they'll focus on Evans. So I've got Godwin as my bust out. And I agree. Najee, especially in the matchup against that Bucks front 7, I think he's going to really find some tough sledding. The only thing that, you talked about touchdown Lenny, and the only thing that might be in his favor is they may be up so far that he gets a whole third quarter of just ground and pound to work the clock before they take him out and putting Rashad White and some of those guys in.
Yeah, they'll just, if they're up by 21 at halftime, Lenny's not seeing the field.
Yeah, they might pad some stats. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, well, I'm also taking the Bucks. I don't see there's any way the Bucks don't win. They can win this game 7-3. I don't think there's any way the Bucks aren't going to put up more than 28 points. I think it's going to be 28 points or more against the Steelers at this point in time. My bust out player, Tom Brady. I think he's going to go out there and have one hell of a game because he's Tom Brady and he can.
He usually does in Pittsburgh.
Yep. And my busted is Harris as well. I mean, I literally am looking at the Steelers. I'm trying to figure out who can you start fantasy-wise on that team. I don't think you can start anybody other than maybe Pickens in a PPR league as your wide receiver 3 or a flex. Other than that, I don't think the Steelers have any weapons. I don't think they're going to get the ball past the 25-yard line of the Bucks more than twice this whole game.
The problem is if you have Najee Harris, you probably have to start him. You
And
probably
that's the
don't have a
problem.
choice.
You spent too much draft capital getting him.
And what you hope is he catches a lot of swing passes so you get the 1 point, so you can at least get one reception at 2 yards.
Yep.
You do that 10 times, that's 10 points, and that's 12 points because 10 receptions and 20 yards total.
Yeah, the thing to keep in mind here, if you have a bunch of Steelers wideouts or even Freiermuth, they are going to be behind a crap ton this season, but this game especially, they're going to be throwing the ball all over that damn field trying to catch up. So in a PPR league, load up if you got them.
Yep, and that's the only saving grace to the Steelers fantasy player at this point in time is the PPR league. If it wasn't for that, they would be absolutely worthless. Tobin, 49ers at the Falcons.
I like the fact that they decided to stay on the East Coast here. I think that was a smart move, especially with a noon, 1 o'clock East Coast noon game here locally. I've got the Niners and their mash unit on defense.
Bosa practiced today partially, and he will be a game-time decision to play for this weekend.
Yeah, if I'm Shanahan, I sit him and rest him. I don't think you need him in this one.
If you might play him the first quarter, and that's it, because that's all you're going to need him for
Maybe.
if you need him that much.
I think this game is going to be the Jeff Wilson show. I think it's going to be one of those situations where I think he's going to pick up a lot of scraps. They'll move the ball down the field through the air, and I think you're going to see Wilson pick up a couple TDs here. My bust.
Falcons offense.
Yeah. Falcons season ticket holders is who I wanted to say, but yeah, I think it's going to be Mariota. I think he's going to struggle. He's going to be running for his life, so I hope he's got his legs good and stretched out.
Okay. Well, I too took the 49ers. I don't think there's any way the 49ers don't win this game at Carolina. Stay on the East Coast, get some extra time in, get some extra study in the book without having family obligations at this point in time.
They've been in Buckhead all week. Come on.
Yeah. But my bust-out player is going to be Kittle. I think Kittle's going to, this is the game he comes. I think this game he probably has 8 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. Although I would not be the least bit surprised to see Jeff Wilson go for over 100 and a touchdown at that point in time. Originally had Jimmy G here, but I don't think Jimmy G is going to get near the touchdown passes that I was anticipating earlier when I was going through this. My busted player is going to be Mariota. I don't think Mariota, I think he's having a pretty decent year, but they're so limited offensively that he's going to have issues, and I think he's going to be the busted player of the week. Tom?
Yeah, I've got to go with the 49ers here. I mean, there's, of course, a chance that they lose this game, but it's going to take some serious injuries, I think, on the offensive side for the 49ers. I'm going to take Debo. Actually, I changed that. I'm going to take Ayuk as my busted out player. I think they may try to shut Debo down, and maybe that finally lets Ayuk bust out. And then my busted player is going to be Kyle Pitts. I think that he's going to come back here. The 49ers already have a receiving tight end that they can figure out how to stop him. So they're going to say, okay, we're going to stop Pitts because he's the guy that we think can really hurt us.
Okay, the last game, I get to pick this one first. Panthers versus the Rams. I'm taking the Rams.
Shocking.
I think the Panthers are, number one, I think they're physically beat up from what the 49ers did to them last week. One thing the 49ers do is they physically impose themselves upon other teams. And that's not something that's very often seen in the NFC. And I think the Panthers are beat up because of that. Coach has been fired. A lot of rough season, rough water in front of them. I think the Panthers are in for a longer season now that Rule has been fired. So I think the Rams are going to win this one going away. My bust-out player of the week is going to be Cooper Kupp until told otherwise. I mean, pick another player in this game who you think is going to bust out. I can't see one. My busted player of the week is going to be Akers for the Rams. I think the Akers is until he shows heart, until he shows motivation, he's going to have issues, and it's going to create more offensive issues for the Rams at that point in time. I wouldn't be too surprised if Darrell Henderson out-touches him this game and definitely gets more snaps than him. Tom?
Yeah, I disagree with a ton of what you said there. But I have the Rams winning this. I don't think that the Panthers can come in here with PJ Walker and not have Aaron Donald sit on his head 3 times. I mean, if you've got CMC, you're going to play him, obviously. It's probably not that bad a matchup for CMC. It is going to be on the carpet, so you're expecting him to probably do well. I'm going to say, though, that I'll stick with I'll go with PJ Walker as my busted. I don't want to go with DJ Moore because the Rams secondary is so crappy. He could get loose for a ball. I just don't think PJ Walker is going to be able to do well on a regular basis. I am taking Cam Akers as my bust out.
Okay.
They're playing at home. They're going to salt the game away. If it does turn out to be close, then yes, Darrell Henderson is going to far and away have outsnap Cam Akers. But I expect this to be a runaway Rams victory, mostly probably because of a defensive score. So that means you're going to get a ton of Cam Akers, and the 49ers destroy the Panthers at home with the running game.
Okay, and got him, Tobin.
I too have the Rams, as does the rest of the world looking at this. They're a 10-point favorite at home. The biggest money line of the week at minus 460. So Vegas thinks you're crazy if you are on the Panthers side at this point, which means you probably go the other way because we all picked the Rams. But I'm going to go Cooper Kupp. I wanted to say Cam Akers. I just don't trust him, even though I've got him rostered in a couple leagues. Hopefully he continues to show signs of life. He played a little bit better last week. Hopefully gets back into it there. My busted is QB1, PJ who? I mean, come on, man. Yeah.
It wasn't bad in the AAF?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
You'd like to see some heart shown with Carolina with the coaching change and the turnover there, but I think Doc was right. The waters are choppy, and they're taking on water in a lot of spots in that boat right now. So, Rams, Cup, and PJ who?
Okay. Well, looking this over, Tobin, you and I have picked 2 games different this week. You have the Chiefs, I have the Bills, I have the Cardinals, you have the Seahawks.
Well, judging by past performance, you think should be looking up for you this week, then.
Very good possibility. Tom, we have 3 different. We have I have the Bills. You have the Chiefs. I have the Jags. You have the Colts. And I have the Cardinals. You have the Seahawks. So there's 2 games that really matter this much.
You have the Colts. I have the Jags.
Yeah, that's what I said, wasn't it?
No.
Okay. I have the Colts. You have the Jags.
Are you high? That's
Apparently,
right.
Yes. So it's one of these weeks that might be a sister kisser. You never know.
Yeah. You guys have started. Is there a camera up here where you guys are seeing my picks? Because I noticed you guys are starting to come along with me now.
I put all my picks down on paper before I come.
Yeah, I've been sitting here writing 2 or 3 games ahead there just to get them out.
Yep.
It's been a good week so far. It'll be interesting.
Too bad we can't get a good Thursday night game.
Thursday or Monday. I'd take either one at this point.
I'm hoping that Monday is competitive. And really, like I said, the only thing I think might keep it competitive is Melvin Gordon in a revenge game. Russ is not going to keep it competitive.
Or Herbert has a bad game and throws at the wrong jersey 3 times.
It could happen.
And with that, we'll see y'all next week, and we'll go over our picks and see what happens for us.
That's right. Doc will be your last place for sure.
Doubt it.